it must be executed directly. The difference between Museveni and Kyagulanyi is a moral leader. The other one is a ruthless dictator with the army. Now, this man, Kyagulanyi, has to execute directives morally. He's not giving you directives, but he's supposed to offer leadership. Now, that is the difference. Now, along this volatile work, which is also non-violent, we use very weak weapons, we use the phones, we use the pens and the papers, and our voices, keyboards, to deliver messages. Now, it is up to you to deliver the message you want. Kati wano tulina okuteekamu empisa n'obuntu. N'omusajja gwe mutaddewo si yeeyita mu training ennene nnyo y'obukulembeze. It is a life experience that he came to be our leader. So, comrades, I think we have a problem over this right, which we must start controlling. This personal right. Yeah? My advice here is that let us try to be more simple. Because for me, I've already mentioned about my sister. That right has turned out to be a problem. So through this freedom of expression, so that we can instill discipline in ours, although we have a right. For instance, we are here, we have, it is a right to be somewhere else. You are belonging to NUP, you are free to be somewhere else in DC, but we are here. You find that another team is found else, is doing some activities elsewhere, yet the leader is here. So we have to find ourselves in this struggle. And comrades, you can't discuss mobilization without, including some of what I'm talking about. Now, we have some challenges. We are dealing with the people who have political positions, like members of parliament, councillors. Once you appoint them into positions, they feel they should advance to other positions. Sometimes they feel you are not even supposed to give them command. We are also having a problem with the social media. Members of parliament have been complaining about social media. And they also, channel for us to use, but let us consider also the good part of it, that if it was not social media, nothing would move on. As we respect it, people must also respect the activity, the way they behave. The leaders we have taken to parliament, once you take the 40 million, please expect people to complain about you. If councillors have gone into Garuga, expect people to respond. And what channel do they have? It is the social media to expose all these wrongdoings. Social media is both a good and a bad challenge. That's why, although it has some bad element of it, let us fight the people who are, fighting social media to be, taken away. Like Museveni, has eliminated it out of Uganda, is fighting social media. My opponent in Sereko is fronting a bill in parliament so that the country cannot freely use social media. So, comrades, I will end by requesting that though we have all these challenges, listenership is very important. You see, there's a difference between listening and hearing. Okuwuliriza n'okuwulira. Okuwuliriza kulimu okufumiintiriza n'owulira omuntu kyayogera. N'okiteeka mu mutima gwo n'okifumiintiriza n'olyoka respondinga. N'okuwulira osobola okubeerawo ng'owulira buwulizi bigambo. So let us try to listen other than merely hearing. With those few words, if given a chance next time, I will talk about reasons why we should stop lamenting. Museveni is in his weak stages, I can assure you. This man, for me, I've been testing him. I'm on ground. I know the response. I know what he does. I even investigate about the inner fights of this man. He's growing old. He's a very old lion. He's a very old lion. The teeth is weakened. Empologoma enkadde tegera kuki ku mulyango. The old lion guards from the door. Kubanga tekyalina maanyi gadduka kukola ki? Kuyiga. So, comrades, I would always encourage you to continue with the struggle. We are on the ground. Bwe tubabuulira ekintu bannange mukiwulirize nga diaspora tukiteeke mu nkola. We have a problem sometimes. Kabuye Boston, we have a problem sometimes. Wamu tula mu buzibu bwonna. Tuli ku ground, please wabawo ekintu kyonna mututeekemu. Tukwatagane namwe tubateekemu tulange ekintu kikole ki kikwateyo. Tulina enteekateeka ey'okukola mobilization ey'okutwala mu 7 even before 2026. You don't expect this man okumutwala n'akalulu kokka. Muwulira ono omusajja situgenda mutwala n'akalulu kokka. Ebyakalulu tubikola naye nga oye tugenda mu maaso. Bannayuganda bakooye balinze. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, and this one is very, very important. We call for unity in the diaspora. We call for unity in the diaspora. We call for what? Unity. Those people, if they have problems, try to sort them out. Nobody owns this struggle. That's why we keep on engaging with them. Abo nabo never sister bafe, never ganda bafe betali nabo mudemu musala magezi. People power. People power.
Our power.
Kunga Uganda kunga.
Kunga Uganda.
Kunga Kyagulanyi kunga.
Kunga Kyagulanyi.
Kunga Professor Ali Maddi kunga.
Kunga.
Thank you for the consistency, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Chairman Nyanzi. Vigambo bulungi webutyo. Thank you so much. Professor Maddi, thank you for coming. I didn't see you before. Thank you for coming, sir. Nga tugenda maaso tuyita mu bwangu baŋŋambye mbagambe nti the boat tickets muge abatannafuna, if you don't have your tickets for boat cruise, it's better you to get it at the registration Tulina speaker addako, and let me invite Mr. Senkumba William to invite the next speaker, Ali ku Zoom.
Comrades, thank you so much for the patience. We do have Dr. Ewa. Hopefully Dr. Ewa is on his work for former President Obama. He was in his administration. Currently is the Chief Financial Officer and of personnel and agents procurement in Illinois. He's a human rights activist. He talks against torture, relief, and he's a doctor at the University of Illinois. So, in the interest of time, allow me to welcome Dr. Ewa from Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Doctor, unmute. Can't hear you.
I am not on mute. I think I've already removed that.
Hold on a second. We can't hear you.
Melbourne.
Okay, that's good now.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, I think you're good now.
Okay. Thank you. My fellow brothers and sisters from Uganda,
Yes.
my name is Dr. Ewa. I'm from Nigeria. And I think I have been... Is it? Okay. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me now?
Yes, you can continue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, doctor, we can hear you.
Excellent.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Good evening, my brothers and sisters from Uganda. My name is Dr. Ewa. I think I've been officially introduced, and I appreciate your invitation to at least say something about what is going on in our own countries, specifically in Uganda. I'm only going to use probably 10, maybe 4 to 5 minutes just to say something. I have met my good friend, the Honorable Santana Bruce President, Bobby. He was here with me about 3 years ago in Chicago. I also extend my sincere thanks to Matthias Mpuga, who is the leader of opposition, and other distinguished members of parliament who have made it possible for this occasion to take place. I am very, very happy to be part of your organization as a Nigerian. My topic has been, I was expected to say something about strategies to mobilize people in the diaspora. Before I get involved into this, I would like to let you know that in order for you to succeed in anything you do in life, especially when you are coming in from a multicultural nation like Uganda, Nigeria, especially in Africa, there has to be unity among all of us. If there is no unity, nothing is going to be taking place positively in Uganda or anywhere in the world. For us to be successful in mobilizing people from the diaspora, there has to be one thing to take care of. One is we must understand the history of Uganda. What kind of politics do we have in Uganda? What is the system of education? Who is your colonial masters? Because if we continue to forget who our colonial masters are, we will be in a difficult disposition to know where we are going as a political entity. So we need to know ourselves, first of all. Whether you are from the East or West, you need to know yourself and know your geography as far as your history is concerned too. The second thing I would like us to understand and know is that what type of government is currently in place in Uganda? And how does this government respond sensitively to the problems of the people? Does the instrument of governance, which is the Constitution, take into consideration the structural dynamics and diversity of Uganda? If the government does not reflect the dynamics of our people, then we need to find a way to change it. And I think it is exactly what you folks, even in my own country, were trying to do at this particular time. Firstly, we must develop a very strong agenda of unity, a unity agenda for the people who in the diaspora. No matter where you come from, if you are not united, it's not going to work. Secondly, if we are united on specific issues, for example, is it education? Is it electricity? Is it the Constitution? We in the diaspora must take each of those governance instruments to study it and make sure that we know what it is all about. Because I will confess to you, our people are practicing democracy, and yet they do not even understand the instruments of democracy. Democracy is the government of the people, for the people, by the people. But when you look at African nations, it is only government of the people, for the people, and by the people who govern at that particular time. So we need to be very, very careful. If we unite ourselves as Ugandans and take one issue at a time and be able to mobilize people to speak on those issues, do research, and sell those issues from here to Uganda, you will see that people will understand that yes, something is wrong. Take for instance, the Ayatollah Khomeini in 1979. It was those folks from outside Iran that made it possible for Ayatollah Khomeini to change the political dynamics of Iran. So Ugandans, it is your time. It is your turn. Take one issue at a time, mobilize yourself according to those issues, make sure that you accept and you are willing to solicit assistance from other folks to help you structure this thing before you get into implementation. Ugandans are very, very smart folks, but in Africa as a whole, and I say this with sincerity, our politicians are not leaders. Every politician wants to be in power as long as he wants. Every time he is prepared to run for election, that is the time he starts talking about people. So you have to distinguish between who is going to be your president, who is supposed to be a leader, and others who are just politicians who are interested in being a politician because he wants to stay in power. Those are the two things you have to take a look at and say enough is enough in Uganda. Be very careful, sir. We are from multi-ethnic groups, just like my country, Nigeria. Ugandans have to come down to a point and say enough of these differences. Let us unite as a people. Now, let me give you an example before I close. We had a lot of military governments in Nigeria before. But when I became president of the Nigerian National Alliance, we took out one issue. And that issue was to let our government, we were united specifically on that issue, and the government saw it and told us, yes, you are right. They gave it to us in 1992. Every Nigerian who was born in America had dual citizenship. So my final thing is this. For Ugandans overseas, please form yourself a coalition, a national alliance committee of Ugandans overseas. Take yourself from one issue to the other, even if you start with one or two issues. Take these issues, study it very, very carefully, make some recommendations, and mobilize Ugandans and let them understand that if we are not united on this particular issue, we are not going to be very, very successful. Nobody is entitled to anything they didn't work for. And as a result of this, if you work hard and are prepared to stay focused on your objectives, God is going to provide you with the opportunity to change what is going on in Uganda and Africa as a whole. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. My good friend, Aisha, and the rest of the folks who made this thing possible. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ewa. Basebo ne banyabo abudde ndowooza bututwaliriza but twafunye Ssabakunzi from Uganda, but you have a diaspora Ssabakunzi, Mr. Paul Sembajwe, and katufune okwogera kwe mu dakika ntono nnyo. Obugalo bwa Paul Sembajwe. Kyagulanyi omulembe yagukwasa ffe abavubuka.
Thank you very much. People power, our power. I think before I go on, I've heard that we might get reactions from you towards Dr. Ewa. So I think we can use this opportunity, if you permit me, if you have any question that can be specifically directed to Dr. Ewa before I go into my presentation.
Anyone who has a question to Dr. Ewa, or we continue? Oh, Dr.
Yes. What happened was that we had approximately 19 Nigerian organizations based upon ethnic groups. And what I did was to call all of them together and let them understand that our differences are not that big. So let's sit down and talk about how we can change what was going on in Nigeria. We took all of those organizations and called them the Nigeria National Alliance. Each one of us came from a different state, a different religion, and so on and so forth. So when we formed that alliance, everybody knew. And as a result of that, we provided some instruments of leadership. I was the first president. And based upon my relationship with folks, we were able to get it done. And we were able to get that done. Say it again, sir. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
I also have one question.
Yes.
Doctor, I hear that Nigeria has close to over 100 languages.
Right.
How are you able to mobilize beyond different social, political, tribal settings?
Contingencies that needs to be established in order to establish a democratic society. When this happened, every Nigerian knew that we wanted to get rid of the dictatorship in Nigeria. That was the rallying point. And as soon as that was able to be achieved, everyone came together and said, my brothers and sisters, we have more things in common for the betterment of our nation than one we have individually as an ethnic group.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Yes, chapter leader.
Dr. Ewa, this is Aisha. I just want to take many questions. The other thing I wanted to ask you, I think one time I raised this to you, that how did you manage to keep all those members together, that they did not even betray the struggle to report you to the dictator? Because this happens in Uganda, that people come to us as good Samaritans, as members of us, and at the end of the day, they betray us. You see, they go back and get ransom money from the dictator. How did you manage to fight that and keep all your members in solidarity? Thank you very much. And we appreciate you.
Thank you, Aisha and Lydia. You know, honestly, if you are very sincere, let me say one, then to elect a leader, because of my relationship with all of this group, it did not really matter whether I was coming from the minority or from the majority. We had a single, not one single thing, but we had an objective. We took Nigeria into pieces and said, this is where we need to start to get some things done. And everybody bought into it, even though we had some individuals who were also not prepared to join us. But when you are trying to institute democratic principles majority always carries the vote. And that is how we were able to get things done. We worked with the people in Nigeria and people in the United States and London. And when they saw that what we were doing was effective, they all bought into it. And that is how it was stupid for anybody to stand up and begin to use ethnic.
As Francis, I'm a member of parliament in Uganda. And so having three arms of government, that's the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. The problem in Uganda, the dictator is having all those three arms controlled by him. And as a legislator, I would like you to give us advice on how we can use, because I know Parliament can save Ugandans if we are organized. As you know, many dictators, the first thing they do is to dismantle the systems, and they become the system, and the system is them. And it's a national army. It has 10 representatives. He has set up even for the elderly. Those who have retired are also having MPs. So he is creating many MPs and also gerrymandering where he is very powerful. How are we going to, what advice do you give us to in form of organization? I don't know whether it is good for this audience or I don't know. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes.
Listen, this is not symptomatic of Uganda alone. It is all over Africa, where people just get in office and think they are entitled to be obeyed. You cannot, in the United States, as you all know, nobody is above the law. But when the Constitution, the instruments of the Constitution are not obeyed, then it makes it difficult for all of us to practice what we call democracy. Yes, in Africa, people get into power, they don't even know their constituency, and what they do is to, when the time for election comes in, they even bribe. You know, the judicial system in Africa is in most cases, I would say in most cases, 40. We do not even obey the law because we don't even understand how did you write a constitution that you cannot even implement effectively and correctly. So we need to be taking cognizance of these institutions. There has to be a separation of power, and let each instrument be maintained as it is written in the Constitution. When you have the right leadership, you have to find a way to have the right leadership, not a politician. Find somebody who is 95% a leader and 5% politician. And that is the kind of person you should put in place to correct all of this nonsense that is going on in African nations.
We want to thank you very much, Dr. Ewa. I would really ask for a round of applause for Dr. Ewa.
Thank you very much. I hope, is Bobby in today?
Yes, he's within the house. He'll be joining.
Fantastic. I just wanted to let him know that the Reverend Jackson was unable to make it because he's sick, and he wants me to send greetings to all of you, and hopefully, when the time comes, you'll be in a position to jump. Not even.
Has been Dr. Ewa. I think you have really enjoyed from her. Now let us go on into the next presentation by myself. I go by the names of Paul Sembaje. As earlier introduced, I am the Secretary of the Ugandan Community of Southern California. It is my honor to see Comrade Chairman Nyanzi. We have been in struggle with him for a long period of time. And all the colleagues in the House, I want to thank you very much for the great work that you're doing to the struggle. And I want to give you words of encouragement that one day we shall end up being in State House in Tebe. One day. So don't lose hope. I want to start by reminding you former President Abraham Lincoln. You all of you, I think you know about him. He tried to be a senator. He failed, but he only succeeded by being a president of this great nation. So, colleagues, it's possible. It is really possible. We can still do it. So, I'm discussing the strategies to mobilize the diaspora communities and our local chapters. But I want you to understand, diaspora is just a scattered community of people, of a population which is separate by its own origin for different geographical areas. As we speak right now, Uganda has a population of 2.2% people in our country. They are living outside Uganda. That population is close to 1 million people living outside the country. And the contribution gets a tax from it. It is so sad. And whoever sits down there and you feel like, you know what, I'm not bothered about what is taking place in my mother country, even if you send $1, he'll charge you money. So which means the area we rise up and defend ourselves is the better we're going to take back the leadership in our country. Because if we just sit and relax, we are going to be misled by people who are not fit to be in those offices. So the earlier we rise up in big numbers, the better it's going to be for us to go back home and lead our great nation. I want to talk about Chairman Nyanzi, what brings us together in the diaspora. We have social, economical, and political issues which brings us together. One, I'll talk about social there for a man. Forget the birthday of your wife, you will see. So celebrating a birthday in this country is so paramount. So we need to really respect that. So those are the events that brings us together. And when they bring us together, we meet people from various divides of life. So when we get a microphone to speak, we use it to spread the good gospel about change. And I want to thank colleagues who are doing that. Thank you very much. Secondly, we meet on economical factors. For example, there is no one in this congregation who is not working. Am I lying? Everyone here is working. I believe just like I took off some days from work, the same appears to other people. So we meet in different work environments, and we use the colleagues we meet there and mobilize her people to join the struggle here. So even if someone is not from your area, you can mobilize them to support the struggle. Just like Chairman Nyan said, we have frontliners. We have people who are the brains of the struggle, and those who are supposed to sit and plan for what is going to happen next. So sometimes you might not see Comrade Herman at the front line, but the work he's doing behind those is so much needed for the struggle. We want to thank you very much, Comrade Norman. Politically, we meet because we share different political views. I believe part of the reason as to why we're here is because we badly need change like yesterday in our motherland. But a colleague might be, for example, from another political party. He's not NUP like me or you, but he badly needs change. So we accommodate those different political views and rise beyond the minimum. Start a short course. You'll see how it will impact on your paycheck. Because if you're still on the minimum wage, there is no way you're going to support the struggle, Chairman. There's no way. There's no way. So if you go back to school, some colleges are even free. You can go back to school, sacrifice that year or 2 years without earning a penny. But as soon as you're out of school, you're going to be able to even make money in a month, and you'll be surprised by yourself. Colleagues, you would have seen the Rio coming back to America part 2. Because if he starts telling you the story a Ugandan goes through to come into this motherland, it's not the story they are portraying. So let us use our talents. Some people are good at acting. You can end up in Hollywood. We have Hollywood in California. So some sports, athletics, it can help us. You can earn big money. Let me tell you, I'm a supporter of Golden State Warriors, a basketball team. Golden Warriors, oye. So, but when you look at those athletics, they are paid more than even our president in this country. So which means your talent can even surprise you for the 10 years you'll be holding that talent very well. So let us try and use our talents. Because if we have good, talented people there, giving 5,000 or 10,000 to the struggle will be very easy. Because we need very many of us can start up projects, can start up businesses. And I want to use this platform to also express my dissatisfaction. Sometimes when our fellow Ugandans start up something, we don't support them. And if we go and support them, which means if I start up, for example, a restaurant, and you come and support me, I'm going to employ more Ugandans. Which means if I employ them, if they are able to stand on their own, they'll also go and start up their own thing. So let us try and support each other. Because when you do that, we are going to get money, and that money will help us to finance the struggle. I also want to tell you, colleagues, that we need to work on our character if we need to really be well in this struggle. One, if you're employed and you have a job, your employer tells you to be at your workplace, so let us try and work on our character. and our ethics and our morals on our different work environments. Because you are not only representing yourself, you are representing Ugandans there. Number two, we need to avoid domestic violence, colleagues. I'm a community leader, just like I told you earlier. It hurts me for a lady to pick up her phone and she calls me. You know what, secretary? Finger towards a woman or a man. Not only appear in any options that could solve your misunderstandings. Because by the time you get to the event, already 911 is there. Someone is being taken. How do we even try and save that person who is in prison as a result of smacking a woman? Colleagues, let us try to avoid that. Because when we avoid that,